Last week, I asked you to watch a gate open for 46 seconds and to pay attention to where the camera was, what the position said about who was watching and who was being watched. This week, we're going from 46 seconds to 2.5 hours, and we're moving from a real factory gate to an imaginary one. Fritz Lang's Metropolis was made in 1927. It imagines a city of the future divided into two worlds: the gleaming towers above, where the wealthy move freely and individually, and the underground machine city below, where workers live and die in synchronized, anonymous rhythm. Lang didn't record this world. He built it. He used enormous sets, thousands of extras, and he took years of production. And every architectural decision he made, every choice about where the camera goes, how bodies move through space, when we get a close-up and when we don't, can be thought of as an argument about power. That's this week's core idea. The way that the infrastructure of power is depicted in films. The phrase comes from Lewis Mumford, one of the thinkers who are anchoring this module. Mumford spent his career arguing that built environments, cities, factories, architecture in general, are never neutral. The way that a space is designed encodes who has power and who doesn't. You don't need to look at a speech or examine a manifesto in order to understand how power is distributed within an environment. You just need to look at who lives where. Metropolis does this with extraordinary precision. The workers in the underground city don't just work harder than the people above. They move differently. The camera treats them differently. Close-ups, that intimate kind of shot that bring us inside someone's perspective and make a person seem fully human to us, are common in the upper city. Underground, they are rationed. Watch for that when you're watching the film. Watch where Lang puts you in relationship to the bodies on screen. That relationship is a point that he's making about power. When you watch this film, I'm going to ask you to do something a little bit counterintuitive. Don't worry so much about the plot. It's important, of course. But what I want you to pay attention to instead is the architecture. Pay careful attention during the opening 10 minutes of the movie. Watch the workers marching in formation, shift changes, the descent they make into the machine room. Watch the rhythm of the editing. Notice how the pace of the cuts matches the pace of the march. Ask yourself, what does that synchronization of the content and the form of the film do to you, the audience? Does it make you feel awe, dread, numbness? Pay attention during the famous machine as Moloch sequence, where it hallucinates the central machine as a devouring god consuming human beings. That's not just a metaphor inserted into the dialogue. Lang builds it visually through camera angles, superimposition, and pace. The machine does more than just represent a hungry god or an idol. Through the purely technical means of the film, it becomes one. Now, I want to mention something about this film that's not really widely known. The version of this movie that we'll be watching is not exactly the version that Lang made. The original cut ran over 4 hours. The studio forced massive cuts. Footage from the movie was lost, degraded, and scattered across archives on 4 different continents. In 2008, a near-complete print was discovered in a film museum in Buenos Aires. It was poorly preserved on 16 millimeters with significant deterioration. What we have now is a reconstruction, something that was assembled by archivists and editors who made their own choices about what Metropolis was and should have been. I mention this because I want you to hold it lightly. Even before you analyze Lang's decisions, someone else has already made choices about which of Lang's perspectives you get to see. This is something which is really noticeable within Metropolis, but it's kind of true of every movie. Films are not discovered. At every stage, they are constructed, edited, pieced and stitched together. Your task this week is to watch Metropolis. Use the How to Watch section in the module as a guide. It will help you to see which sequences you should focus on and what you should look for. In your notes, work through this question. Pick one sequence, something that's at least 2 minutes long, and identify 2 specific technical decisions. Maybe a camera angle, an editing choice, a set design element, a lighting decision, and try to explain precisely what those decisions do to you, the viewer. What emotion, what assumptions, what identities do they engineer? Look at this movie and think about what it means to step into a city completely constructed by the imagination and the machinery of film.